Welcome to Guide to First Time. I wanted to start with some planning news. Since this is a planning podcast, I thought it would be fun to start with what I'm planning right now and some of the challenges I'm having with this plan. You probably know that May 26th is going to be a big day for everything Disney World. They are launching new attractions or relaunching new attractions. Muppets roller coaster is coming in. And in Animal Kingdom, which is the park I'm planning the next trip to, Bluey and Bingo are going to have some sort of party, and it's bound to be very, very busy and crazy because I feel like it took so long for them to bring it here that just built up this backlog of enthusiasm. So this is what I'm dealing with this week. I'm going with some people in my family that haven't been going to Disney much and they haven't been in a long time. So it's kind of like their first time with the kids. There are 3 kids in this group going in. So I'm very aware of the pitfalls of that, and it feels like the first time with kids for sure. So I'm debating this week, should we try to get into this bingo and Blue meet up and party? So Disney just announced that they're going to have a virtual queue for this attraction at 7 in the morning and then at 10 in the morning, which we will be at the park for the 10 a.m. as well. But I was just debating as the planner of this trip, whether or not is this going to be total mayhem and I'm going to overwhelm my party with trying to get into. I'm not sure by early June they will have all the kinks worked out with the lane and the cast members and the number of people that are going to be there. So I'm debating whether or not we should incorporate that in our plans or we should just focus on the rest of the park since it is their first time kind of in a very long time and just enjoy the other areas, which fingers crossed, maybe will be a little bit lighter in attendance and will be a little bit easier to navigate since a lot of people are going to go into Bluey and Bingo Mint party. Other things that I'm looking in terms of planning for this upcoming trip is Disney just released summer pricing or packages for tickets for Florida residents. Now, we had tickets for 1 day Florida resident, the normal discount. Now they have a 4-day park ticket that's much more enticing. It's kind of half or even less than half, 40% of the price that we paid for 1 day. So I'm trying to fit that into the budget. And I'll do a full planning before we even go because I want you guys to see we're dealing with budget constraints. We're dealing with a kind of odd number party. We have 5 people. And also we have kids that are going for the first time in a long time. And we have another parent that really doesn't love Disney. So I'm dealing with all those different planning situations that I think would be very informative. And I think a lot of people go through this when they're first going to Disney World. But let's jump into the topic of today, which is lightning lanes. The second episode I'm doing on lightning lanes because I wanted to be a little bit more structured with this conversation, not so much of a trip report, but we did kind of figure it out, a lot of those things about lightning lane during our last trip. So I'm going to structure a little bit better today with kind of like a do's and don'ts or what really worked because I hear a lot of fear around lightning lanes. And obviously, if you have a big party, that can add up to hundreds of dollars in a day that you're already spending in room and board. You're already spending on your hotel. You're already spending in tickets for the park and everything else that you're going to do that day. So I understand lightning lanes can be or are a big expense into your plan already. So I wanted to take a little bit of the fear out of it. If you're not staying at Disney and don't have the 7 days in advance, or you haven't done it, or you weren't sure if you needed lightning lanes or not, I think this strategy is gold. And it will also give you a little bit more of a pass to make those decisions on the go. It's not that you're going to completely fail and it's not going to be worth. Also, if you are doing a park hop, you can use that strategy for the second part of the day. So you're going to go to, let's say, one park in the morning and then change to another park in the afternoon. You can only pre-schedule the activities or the lightning lanes on the first park. You'll be left with an afternoon sort of quote unquote empty for you to kind of troubleshoot those lightning lanes. So this episode is going to help you as well if you're park hopping. All right. So tips to maximize your lightning lanes, even if you just book them or you book when you get to the park and you're not rope dropping. Maybe you have a slow morning with your family. You're starting in the afternoon. That's what we did at Hollywood Studios. And we had no plans. We've been to the park so many times. I didn't want to spend in lightning lanes because we've done most of the activities. But my family wanted to try new ones that we've never done. For example, Toy Story Mania and Slinky Dog. Those are high traffic. Like you can sit and wait for long hours on those lines. So when we got to the park around, I want to say 12:30 or 1, Hollywood Studios was just jam-packed with people from the race, the springtime surprise, but also I believe they were having some cheer competitions. They had big groups. We could see big groups coming into the park. It was so busy. I decided to actually buy the lightning lanes while we were there so we could do more with our half a day at Hollywood Studios. I hope that makes sense how we got into this conundrum, how we end up buying lightning lanes at 2 p.m., even though we're pass holders. We've been doing this for almost a year now, so we're kind of quote unquote pros at it. All right, so the first thing is to check the times before you buy. If you go on the My Experience app and click to buy multi-lightning lanes, and you go on today's date or the date that you are in the park, and you look at the rides, it will show you for the first tier and the second tier which experience are currently available. They have lightning lanes for you to book and which ones have not. If you're in Hollywood Studios, likely Slinky Dog or Tower of Terror or Toy Story Mania will probably be closed or won't have it readily available. And that's okay. Trust the universe that we will get lightning lanes for those attractions. And we did. But you can check the app and it will tell you which ones. You can even select the ones you want that have available and push to the next screen to see which timelines you're going to get, which time frames you're going to get right off the bat. And then you can make a decision. You don't have to pay until you see all of this and you have all the information. This is something I didn't realize before. You can see when you're going to get the rides and what rides currently have lightning lane. And we'll give you a good idea of like, do I want to do this? Is it worth for me and my family or not? It's really too busy right now at this point. Better save the money for another day. We'll give you the full information before you have to click the button and buy. So that was really helpful. I'm going to try to make a video out of it, how it works, but you can see everything before you even commit. The second thing, and we did it on the spot, we were sitting having lunch and we were able to get most of the rides had times, even though some of those rides that we wanted to do that day were later in the day. My second big advice is to get a burner ride. I know this is the same advice for early morning, but here is very important because you want to have that tier 1 available. If you didn't get the ride that you wanted, and likely you won't, that's what happened to Slinky Dog. I got into Star Tours, and in Hollywood Studios Star Tours, some of the shows were pretty easy to get lightning lane for. We saw the Frozen show. It was a walk-on. They had lightning lanes for it. So if you can get a lightning lane for exactly when you're there at the park or when you first come in, just go and either do that attraction. Honestly, Star Tours is one of the most underrated rides that we see in Hollywood studios. All of us love it and we go multiple times, but it's always um, low in the categories. You can always get a lightning lane for it. Just go and tap. So you have that floater lightning lane that you can snag new ones as they come available. That's going to be important for you to kind of get more rides in as you go along, as your day progresses. Get a burner lightning lane so you can have it open and start looking for other rides right from the get-go. Number 3, my third trip, as many lightning lanes as possible, is to check the rides you want or constantly. Just keep refreshing on those rides specifically. So we were looking for Slinky. In the Slinky ride, it will give you an option to refresh so you can be on that ride specifically. If something comes up, you can snag it. That's also important, to have an open or unavailable lightning lane so you can actually do that quickly and not wait to transfer your lightning lane from one ride to another. Number 4, use lightning lane for the rides around where you are at that moment. So the whole strategy relies on churning, right? And just getting lightning lanes, getting into the rides and out of the rides quickly, and not having to move around the park too much. That was another lesson learned from previous experience, which is like you waste a lot of time. So instead of keep bouncing one area to another, just get where you are. And since we wanted so many rides in the Toy Story area, we stayed in between Galaxy's Edge, which is another favorite of my family, and the Toy Story area. We're right there in the middle. And then when we got a lightning lane in a few minutes for Millennium Falcon, wasn't on our top preference, but we're like, you know what? Let's just jump in. You guys will tap right away. We'll just get another lightning lane and we'll do an attraction while we're waiting for other ones to come available or our time for other lightning lanes. So where you are, keep a look at some of the attractions. You can maybe just get in and out and up your count without having to go back and forward in the park, which in the summer is going to be a lifesaver. Number 5 is you have 1 hour, and some people say even longer. I've never tried, so I don't want to say anything that won't happen, but you have at least 1 hour to use it, right? So no need to run from one side to another. And another thing that we did was to switch lightning lanes. We kept refreshing the times. And if we had and found a better time frame for a ride that we really wanted and was near us, if you keep refreshing the app, I know it's kind of a pain, but that's how you have to operate if you're ride motivated and you want to make the most out of your lightning lane investment, is really try to get the rides nearby and use and stretch that 1 hour to go to other places and maybe swap the rides if you don't get in the correct quote unquote order that you want or that makes sense for where you are in the park. And this goes with my tip number 6. If you don't have the ideal time, just keep refreshing. You can always move it in or move it later that will make sense for you. For example, at one point we had Tower of Terror, but most of the rides and activities that we wanted to do were between Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story. So I moved that lightning lane for later in the day so we could do when we were completely done in Toy Story Land, we could just go to the front of the park and then from Sunset Boulevard, from Tower of Terror, we could just make our way out of the park later in the evening. So make sure you refresh and try new times, even for the rides you already booked. This is something I did not do on my first time managing lightning lanes for a group, and I wish I had done. It's not a set and forget if it's not perfectly scheduled. All right, tip number 7 is to reverse rope drop whatever attraction you couldn't do lightning lanes for. So, for example, if you wanted to do Slinky and you didn't get it through the day, right? Or Tower of Terror. And the last 30 minutes before the park closes, just make your way there, get something to eat and drink, and go into that line. Towards the end of the day, they do stop or slow down the lightning lanes. They're not selling anymore, so it will go faster. And then, as you probably know, once you're in a lane queue for an attraction, even if the park closes, you're still gonna go through it. They won't just shut down and kick you out. You can always kind of reverse rope drop and go to that attraction that you didn't get any lightning lane for it. There's also single rider lane for Rise of the Resistance, which is a separate lightning lane altogether. So keep an eye. If you did not get all the lightning lanes you wanted, there's always the opportunity to just jump in the line at the end of the day. So maximize all the other opportunities you have, get as many rides as you can, make great use of your lightning lane through the day with those strategies that I just mentioned. I think you'll be very happy. We were extremely happy. And another kind of an extra tip here, which I didn't know it could be done, but it can. We got a lightning lane for Slinky after missing several times. They go fast, so don't feel discouraged. After missing a couple of times, they just went away immediately. We got it, and the ride was down. So we just sat nearby. We could see they were testing. Some of the cars were going empty, so we could see that they were testing. We just stayed nearby. There's a new sitting area right between Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land. And we just hung out in that area, and honestly, they opened immediately. Like, we were just walking in to wait, and they were already open. And we were one of the first people to do lightning lanes for that ride when it reopened. Saved us so much time and aggravation. Basically waited no time for Slinky, which is unheard. Another quick tip, stay in the area if you have something you must do, and just kind of go in and out the other attractions. I think it's always worth when the ride is down. And if they don't tell you, look, it's not going to open for the rest of the day, or it's not lightning or thunder, it's always worth, because they're just testing something out or someone lost something in it. So it should be quick unless they tell you otherwise. All right, so those are my tips to get the most out of your lightning lane, even in a half park day, or even if you buy it on the spot like we did. So don't be afraid. We got a lot done. So here's the recap of the rides from 2 p.m. when I bought Lightning Lane to 8:30 when we left Hollywood Studios. We did Toy Story Mania. We did Slinky. We did Frozen Show. We did Millennium Falcon. We did Star Tours twice. I don't think we had Lightning Lane for Star Tours the second time around. It was just, we did it twice. It was easy. We did have lightning lanes for Tower of Terror and Mickey and Minnie, but I was exhausted, so we gave up those. We've done those rides so many times, so I was just really tired. That day was the longest day of my life. I did the 10K race in the morning. We went to the pool in the morning, and then I went to Hollywood Studios with my family. So I was beyond exhausted. Other attractions and other things, again, as pass holders, we tend to spend more time now doing other things in the park than riding rides. We did a lot of shopping at Galaxy's Edge. We did lunch at Cargo Bay. We did dinner at Woody's, which took a long time. At the end of the day, they were very slow. We did the bounty hunter game at Galaxy's Edge. We got 4 bounties. That's a lot of going back and forward in Galaxy's Edge, but my son always wanted to do, so we had to do it. And we left early. We left at 8:30. We were at the bus stop because, like I said, I was overtired. I was so cranky. I had a mini tantrum when we missed the bus, so I was done for the day. Otherwise, the park was open, I want to say until 9, so you could we didn't even do the reverse rope drop, which you could do as well. We could easily have fit another 2 or 3 rides with the lightning lanes that we passed on, as well as just standing in line until the very last minute, right? And for us, this was very eye-opening. I had so much fear around booking lightning lanes literally 7 days in advance and waking up at 7 in the morning when they open and whatnot. But this just gave me the assurance that you can always kind of come in and see what's going on. If the park is really busy, get the lightning lanes, have a better, easier day on yourself. If not, if it's an easy park day or the lines are not so bad for the attractions you want to see, save the money for something else, get some merch, come in another day. But you can make that decision when you're there without the fear of wasting your money and your time on lightning lanes. Next episode, I'll do a full planning deep dive into what we're doing for the summer. I think that would be interesting as well, how I'm thinking about the process and the money and making all the decisions for the summer trip. So this is it for Guide to First Time Lightning Lanes on a half park day, and I'll see you in the next episode.